I think I don't have to uh, dwell on floods because you're familiar with floods. I would just like to assure this group that before the end of the year, we should have modernized, upgraded 12 pumping stations around Metro Manila. MMDA is in charge. All these pumping stations, all our pumps are circa 75 and 76. Ganong kaluma na po yun. Not to mention the fact that our waterways, our 273 esteros are full of silt and sedimentation, restricting the capacity of even rainwater to flow. So yun po talaga yung source ng baha. We will never be able to solve flooding in Metro Manila. It will be a yearly event. We will just be able to mitigate the flooding in Metro Manila because Metro Manila is part of an area called scientifically as an isthmus. To the east, you have the floodplains of Marikina. To the west, in Kamanava and Manila, you have the areas below sea level. We're a little bit luckier than Rotterdam or the Netherlands. But what would probably sustain us, similar to what transpired during Ondoy, I was not yet in office during Ondoy, I was still in New Orleans, post-Katrina, studying, is the resiliency of our kababayan staying here in Metro Manila. Kahit ano po sigurong mangyari, makakabangon po tayo. But let me go on to the problem of earthquake. As I've said, aside from floods, Metro Manila is vulnerable to earthquakes due to the physical, environment, and geographical location of the country in the Pacific Ring of Fire. The West Valley Fault, traversing the metropolis lengthwise from the Sierra Madre all the way to the edge of Tagaytay, poses the greatest threat in terms of high possibility of a strong quake. I mentioned that the first hour, 7.2 magnitude quake, 135,000 would die, 115,000 would be injured, 170,000 residential structures would collapse, power, water, and telecommunication lines would be cut, and the national socio-economic activities would be severely disrupted. 40% of the GDP comes from Metro Manila. Far from being dire prophets of doom, we are simply trying to prepare the public for what may be inevitable, given the size and density of the population and structures in this megacity. Historical evidence points to earthquakes of this magnitude in this particular area in a cycle of about 200 years. Since this 200-year cycle has already lapsed in our time, such disaster is bound to happen anytime. It appears to be no longer a matter of if, but when it will happen. If it takes a scenario like that to scare people like you into getting ready for the big quake, then it's well worth the effort, given the irreducible value of human lives and the many lives that can be saved through adequate and timely preparation. To maximize the chances of survival, we need 3 Ps: planning, preparation, and practice. But I mentioned a while ago the 4th P, prayers. Precisely for that purpose, the MMDA has come up with an Oplan Metro Yakal. At the outset, it is a contingency plan for the eventuality of a major earthquake in Metro Manila. It details a set of procedures and guidelines in preparatory and humanitarian response by personnel and units of MMDA, Metro LGUs, and their affiliates. To simplify, Oplan Metro Yakal calls for the division of Metro Manila into 4 quadrants. First quadrant will have an open evacuation center at the Villamor Golf Course. Second quadrant will have an open evacuation center at that golf course where the former president is presently incarcerated with the hospital beside the golf course. Third quadrant would call for the establishment of an evacuation center at the Intramuros Golf Course. And the fourth quadrant would call for the utilization of the Ultra Sports Complex. The entire Macapagal Avenue stretch would be utilized by the MMDA as the cadaver impounding center. We failed to do that in Tacloban. We don't have a centralized cadaver center for all the victims. So we will be utilizing Macapagal. For the information of the body, during the first week of the Yolanda event, MMDA was the cadaver retrieval team. We were the first to, I brought in 1,000 cadaver bags. After 3 days, we ran out of cadaver bags. The next plane flight, we brought in apog, limestone for the body. Sorry for those having their snacks. So the burial site would be Macapagal Avenue. Under Oplan Metro Yacal, we have the Task Force Rainbow, wherein MMDA 6,000 strong workforce are organized as volunteers along with 1,000 other volunteers. These are made to undergo the earthquake, landslide, and search and rescue and incident command system training programs, short courses on disaster preparedness. I'm inviting you to join these courses, response and management. Task Force Rainbow, I mentioned a while ago, represents 4 colored sub-task forces for Metro Manila East, West, North, and South. If the earthquake occurs during office hours, Task Force Rainbow will assemble at the MMDA office, from where they will be deployed to areas that need immediate assistance. A plan is only as good as its execution. Ang sinasabi ko po, even if you have plans, what I intend to do this year is to likewise train more rescuers coming from Bulacan, Cavite, Laguna, and Batangas. It happened in Tacloban. The rescuers coming from the area were victims themselves. So it's about time that we train people coming from the adjoining regions. To this end, contingency plan provides preparatory activities such as the reorientation and upgrading of disaster response skills and reassessment of MMDA and volunteer rescue teams in close coordination with Metro Manila mayors. In addition, MMDA will continually train barangay leaders in the same way we train our MMDA personnel. 2 years ago, I had don't quote me, I had the bad experience of involving mall operators. I asked them, if we're going to have earthquake drills, it has to happen during nighttime. Some responded positively, some negatively. I won't mention the names. Ang sinasabi ko po lagi, pag mag-prepare tayo sa lindol, dapat seryoso, dapat gabi. Hindi po pwede yung sa classroom, nagtataklob ng libro, nasa ilalim ng desk, paglabas, nagtatawanan pa yung mga estudyante. We have to simulate a situation wherein parang gano'n na. Hindi lang pumayag yung ilang mall operators kasi baka malugi daw yung sinihan, magpanik pag pinapatay ko yung mga ilaw. But it has to be that way. I envision a day wherein we will do what the state of California is currently doing. They have a one-day statewide earthquake drill. All private offices, all malls, all schools, all government centers closed for an earthquake drill. Highways closed. Train stations closed. Everything closed just for that earthquake drill. Wala pa ho tayong ganun. Kailangan natin i-simulate ito sa MRT, even the airports and hospitals. We also launched recently regular information campaigns to raise the awareness and condition the mindset of the public, similar to what I'm doing right now, with the expectation of a big earthquake happening anytime, and the need to be prepared for it at all times. Regarding this, I mentioned a while ago, the third P, practice. The operative word is drill, drill, drill. When Rudy Giuliani ran for president, he mentioned drill, baby drill. He was referring to the scenario of drilling perhaps the Alaskan coastline for oil. We have conducted several earthquake drills involving thousands of volunteers since Oplan Yacal was launched in 2011. And we will continue with this drill until the drill is literally drilled into the mental and muscle memory of our participants. A lot of people tend to ignore government warnings of this kind because we have never experienced an actual strong earthquake. With this in mind, We have set up an earthquake simulator last year in our premises to help train our rescue personnel as well as educate the general public on the nature, effects, and actual feel of earthquake. Aptly named Shake, Rattle, and Learn House. It is hydraulically operated. It is a hydraulically operated facility that simulates seismic movement equivalent to a magnitude ranging from 4 to 8 magnitude. Sana po mapasyalan nyo. Meron po kami sa MMDA na earthquake house. Pwede nyo pong subukan. We have hosted several student groups coming from as far as Mindoro and Baguio to experience an actual earthquake. It is important for us to realize that the earthquake phenomenon is not only unpredictable, but inevitable in Metro Manila. But it is even more important to realize that this natural disaster does not necessarily have to be a full-blown catastrophe. This reminds me of a politician who was asked, what is the difference between a disaster and a catastrophe? And the politician replied, if my opponent falls into the Pasig River, that would be a disaster. But if somebody manages to rescue him, that would be a catastrophe. Which in turn reminds us that in times of natural calamity, there is absolutely no place for playing politics. In such critical situations, the need for unity and cooperation cannot be overstated. I've said this before. What was shown and what was appreciated by various foreign groups during that Yolanda experience was the compassionate response of Filipinos. We were there, people joined hands, people donated second-hand items, money, time, resources. Filipinos are known for their compassion. But when it comes to a big earthquake, I've said this before, what is needed in Metro Manila is that not just compassion, but merciless efficiency. We show mercy towards our brothers, but we have to be mercilessly efficient. Kailangan po umaandar lahat ang ating ambulansya. Kailangan po tumatakbo yung ating ospital. Kailangan po makokontak natin ang ating mga rescue teams. Kailangan po meron tayong line of communication. Kailangan tayong merong means of transportation. At dapat po wala tayong panic. Ginawa na po namin makipag-usap sa Philippine Medical Association at iba't ibang grupo, kabilang po ang Philippine Institute of Civil Engineers to address earthquake preparedness and risk reductions. The engineers volunteered to conduct metro-wide inspections of various buildings to assess their structural soundness and safety and to identify and correct deficiency before it's too late, and thus reduce the dangers of poorly built and ill-maintained structures. Sa pag-aaral po, I have the latest hazard maps. Ang una pong babagsak ay yung mga buildings circa below 1990s. Mas babagsak po, mas malaking chance ang bumagsak yung mga gusaling 4th floor pababa. 4th floor, 3rd floor, lalong-lalo na yung mga gusaling pinatungan lang ng dagdag na hindi kumuha ng building permit. Pero yung mga bagong gusali po natin ngayon na nandito sa the 4th, safe po yan. Hindi po yan yung gagalaw po yan, subalit hindi pareho po yan ng mga gusaling nakikita natin pababa ng skyway na merong nakalabas pa yung palitada ng hollow blocks at merong basketball court sa taas. Yung po yung unang babagsak. I need not go further, but I stress this once again, that we need to prepare. And preparedness would have to involve your groups, yourselves. And by being prepared, you have to join. You have to join not just a post-disaster event, but a pre-disaster preparation. So that's the reason why I'm inviting you, your group. I see able-bodied men and women here to join earthquake trainings, rescue trainings provided by the MMDA for free. Kung ako lang po masusunod, yung pong inalis na ROTC na ginawa po ngayong, hindi ko alam kung anong tawag, NT, sana po yun ay gawin na lamang earthquake preparedness. magagamit po talaga yon. Marami po tayong mga kabataan na makakatulong. Mas kakailanganin po natin sila, lalong-lalo na kung merong kalamidad. I will leave it to you and to the other experts on how you can join us in these processes. Alam ko pong malaking maitutulong nyo, especially on IT and business process outsourcing companies are here. You can play a big role in improving disaster preparedness and response capabilities in Metro Manila and throughout the country. Just as much as we need the volunteered resources of private companies and special skills of professionals like doctors and engineers, we need your unique resources and distinct professional skills and talents to add to our collective efforts to prepare for, respond to, and recover from major disasters, especially because such disasters precisely call for the high efficiency, connectivity, contact capacity, and digital power that you can provide. Since the magnified chaos of natural calamities requires the order, method, rationality, and logical systems of information and communications technology. Your services can exponentially enhance our ability to inform, contact, and connect with those in need of help and those who are trying to help save endangered lives and property. Hindi ko po makalimutan, yung unang tama ng lindol sa Bohol. We were there 4 hours after the earthquake, modesty aside. Earthquake struck 8:25, MMDA was in Tagbilaran, 12:25. Ang tawag po sa akin nung gabi, sir, meron po dito sa Loon, kausap pa namin, babae. Ito po yung nadaganan ng isang building malapit sa simbahan. So nag-uusap kami kung paano makukuha pa yung babae. Inabot na po ito ng gabi. Nawala na kami ng contact, wala na akong kuryente rin sa Bohol. Nung naka-charge siguro sila, umaga na nung tumawag sa akin, sir, hindi na ho namin nakuha, patay na ho yung babae. Turn out na parang lay worker noong simbahan, yung babae, yung lindol sa Bohol. So, sa palagay ko, malaki ho maitutulong ng inyong grupo, lalong-lalo na sa mga sitwasyong wala ng kuryente, wala nang nagfa-function na telco. At I'm sure the overall effect of a big quake would likewise be diminished. Following the present trend of smart systems, I believe that together we can come up with smart emergency applications, smart disaster risk reduction and management, and perhaps even a smart bayanihan, specifically upgraded and updated for our increasingly disaster-prone times. This is certainly a vision worth pursuing. In the pursuit of that vision, you, the eminent professionals of the contact center industry, are definitely well-positioned to provide backbone support, and you may even take the lead. This is the challenge of this occasion. I know this is just a special meeting, but I do believe that your group can provide the necessary backbone. So let us all face the challenge and rise to the occasion. Maraming salamat po at pwede na ako magkape. Magandang hapon po sa inyo.
First of all, Chairman, I'd like to commend you for especially the information dissemination part or improvement of MMDA for the last recent years, especially using technology.
Twitter.
Yeah, and all the apps and all that. Is there a ongoing plan or is there a way to adapt or open those technology portals, MMDA resources, to be embedded or adapted in parts or to private similar technologies?
I think when it comes to using social media for public services,